Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, we will be. We have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda.
All right, good evening, people. How you going? Guru's turned the camera on. I've been out and about and doing what I got to do and getting back to life, guys. So good to see you guys again, and hopefully good to see me. But Frank, how are you, mate?
Mate, I'm doing well. I'm glad. It's good to see you back on deck, mate. Really good, actually.
Yeah. Well, eventually I had to, But anyway, it's been we'll talk about it, as we go on with the shows, guys, and
of course.
going. But listen, what we are going to do is we're going to be doing Wednesday nights as a news night at the moment. And then Friday night, Frank and I are going to come on and we're going to do a weekly roundup and just, let Caz have a bit of time to herself, and just while we're stepping back into it, guys, just everyone have the break that they need. This has been a very, very long war. And talking about that, 30 years today, Frank, since Australian innocence was taken at Port Arthur. Comments?
Yeah, wow.
30 years, bro.
Far out. So what would that make Martin Bryan right now, age-wise?
Yeah, well, what was he? 20-something when he done it, wasn't it? 20 mil, can you remember? How old?
He was 22.
20-something. So, he's about my age then. Oh, no, a bit older, a bit younger than me. Sorry, about 50-odd.
Wow, mate. I tell you what, mate, the compensation for that young man is just going to be immense. To think that even now he's still locked up, so.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, and the thing is, Frank, it's out there. We know it was a CIA, Mossad, event.
Yeah.
All right, but it was the one that took the Australian innocence, mate, as far as I'm concerned. With what happened, it's a flow-on from that.
Well, the CIA's been using the back, Australia's their playground for decades, Dave, so... Yeah. But, the innocence and, just the lives destroyed through all this, how do you give back Martin his life, while he's still incarcerated in jail right now? Unbelievable. you know, just the criminality in this country is just second to none, Dave.
Yeah, not wrong, Franco. I'll just block this user here, and we're going to get the Shoals out for a week or two, guys. They can entertain themselves because I'm not interested.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. I gave him the yawn fest the other day. You know, just get, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right, mate. Yeah. So anyway, we've there's been a bit happening. Well, I'm 14 refineries worldwide, Frank. 14 refineries, mate. We weren't left alone, all right? It's not all by design, is it, guys? You know, we just happen to have 14 refineries all go on fire during a supposed, you know, dark time on oil. Like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, no, Vietnam's just gone up too. So that was in Hanoi.
All right.
Yeah,
you can't make it up, Dave. You cannot make it up.
Look,
No.
It's all playing out exactly, you know.
Well, we could take a leaf.
I've always been saying it was going to, yeah.
We could take a leaf out of the Amish. I mean, they're getting their tractors run by hemp oil, by the way.
Hemp oil. Yeah, hemp oil, mate. Yeah. Oh, look.
Oh,
we've
it's actually
been lied to so much. Yeah, so
look,
much.
it's interesting you should say that because this is what we've got.
I really hope it wasn't going to come to this, but here we are, cooking up our own diesel. Because politely, $3.15 for a litre of the dino juice is daylight robbery. I'm not paying it. So if you see me ripping down the main strip, smelling like a fish and chip shop, just mind your own, yeah? I'm not paying it. It's a matter of...
yeah, and you can do it. Don't you worry. You can, you can break
absolutely.
It back and use it. Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Well, look, we got heaps of news, so let's hit some of that because it's just pretty amazing what's going on around the place at the moment. First of all, I was in Canberra on the weekend, and it was great. This is the setup for it. They really put a lot of work into it. There was a massive flag down the back as well. And I have to do a shout out. This guy was from Tasmania, and he said to say hello to you, Dave. And that's his roof in Tasmania. He's got the best roof in Tasmania. I managed to catch up with.
And he's protected. He's protected.
Yeah, he is.
Blue.
It's protected in blue, mate.
Anyway, look, it was a really great great day. I got to catch up with Scotty. Like it's going to be huge.
Well, we hope so. You put these things on, you never really know if you're going to get a bunch of people or not, but you do your very best with it, and you just put it out there and you ask Australians to turn up. And look, as you know, we don't have much time left, and we've got a very limited window of opportunity here to be able to steer the direction of this country into a different path where there's a future for all of us Australians here.
Excellent. And there are lots of pressing issues, aren't there?
Mate, the pressing issues keep compounding. It's like we bounce from one crisis to another crisis, and all this government wants to do is bring in more people from the third world that don't assimilate with your culture, that aren't Australians, so that they can make you disappear because they're easier to look after. They're just bringing in cattle from overseas. They're restocking the farm with other people, and you lose. That's what's happening, and we know it.
Thank you.
And look, hats off to Scotty, but unfortunately, you know, if I'm going to be honest, like I always am, we've been there, we've done it. It's great that they're doing it, okay? But again, I see the only way to turn this around is that everybody go in their community and put a stop to it. At your councils, at your local area, and if we all do that, then we stop it. But again, you know, turning up in Canberra, hats off. No worries, Scotty. Well done, mate. You know, funded it. I know what it's like to do it, mate. You know, with me and Mel have been funding this for probably 6-7 years now. All right, so great effort. But, you know, is it going to do anything? Maybe. I don't know. I hope it does.
Well,
you know?
There were a few people there. I did catch up with them. One of them was Lockie. He was from the Freedom Movement. I think he was with us in Canberra the first time around, wasn't he? Anyway, this is what Lockie had to say. Excellent. And we're here today. It looks like it's going to be huge.
We're set up for it. You've got some big names coming and it's all come together so well. You never know what to expect, but we're here. The volunteers were endless. So I'm quite optimistic, yes.
And you're here because?
We're here to make a stand against mass immigration, but a whole host of issues our nation faces, you know, rising costs of living, struggling with our nation has never been at a time like it is right now. All the struggles are onshore, all the struggles could be avoided. So we're here to make our voices heard. We're outside Parliament where they gather, where they can make the changes that we want to see happen, and we're going to keep our voice high throughout the nation.
And of course, this guy as well, homeless for 19 years. 19 days, sorry.
I just live in backpackers, travel city to city and state to state. But after that happened, I wasn't allowed to stay in any of the backpackers, so I ended up in a tent in Grafton, and also over in Tasmania at the start. And then when it started to open back up a little bit, I was able to get back over there on the ferry. Then I ended up in Grafton, hurt my back. Then just since then, man, you try to get a rental, even if you're working and you're making a heap of money, you can't get in because there's just a preference in the whole system. Even looking for more work, very tough to find work at some points, and a lot of it, you gotta go out and do a bit of cash work because the big lot, they're hiring the immigrants and they're not hiring us. So it just, flow on effects from these guys and the decisions they're making towards our lives, and they're just kicking us out incrementally.
He's been there. He's been camping on Parliament House lawns for 19 days because he's got nowhere else. And then, of course,
Isn't it funny how they haven't moved him along, Caz? But if it was any of us people from the epic time, we'd be moved along like that, mate. Bang, get out.
Yeah, it's true. And then we had a surprise baptism.
Yep. Scotty, my man, be our honour and our privilege, my man, to baptise you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Well, amen to that.
Amen to that. And
now Scotty has to actually walk it.
And then on top of that, we had the news that the Kiwis came and did the haka for us. It was great. It was really fantastic. Stephen Chavera jumped on the electric guitar, and he I didn't even know he could play. It was awesome. So it was just a really good day overall, and of course got to catch up with some of our crew there, and it was just really great to see them. So yeah, it was great overall.
Hey Caz, what church were those boys from? Did they say?
They were the boys from New Zealand.
Yeah, Destiny Church, I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, so they're actually from New Zealand, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Now, whether they all live here or what, I don't know, Frank, but yeah, they may well, I don't know.
All right.
Well, we've always had a reciprocal, they don't even need visas in New Zealand, and Australians don't need, we've always had reciprocal things, so they can pretty much come and go as they please.
Yeah. Okay.
But as Dave said, of course, the WASP files, Port Arthur 30 years ago. And there's a couple of interesting things that have resurrected because of the 30 years. The first of all was we interviewed the guy who does the WASP files, and he's actually come out and talked about those whistleblowers.
That it was carried out, it was a setup. So when people ask me...
Well, when they say that it was an operation that was set up, did they give any idea of the intention behind it? What was the purpose behind such a horrific crime to occur, and what were they hoping would be the eventual outcome from it?
Take our guns.
I would say no one's come out implicitly and said it was because of this, but there are indications that it was about cementing the power of politicians. Being able to enact levels of control over the civilian populace, more about, surveillance, funding for anti-terrorist organisations.
Now,
that's a very placid explanation. It was a disarm us, folks. That's
pretty much. Yeah.
Well, what is very interesting is the SPLC has been caught funding Southern Poverty Law Centre, for those of you that don't know, in the United States, have a big, massive, they're a massive slush fund, basically, and they've just been caught funding the very people that they're fighting. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting, all the stuff that, and we've got a little story towards the end. Don't let me forget about Starmer. And it's not in anywhere of the news, and the only person I've come across to talk about it is actually George Galloway. But before we leave there, let's get back onto this. Now, Wendy Skerr, I've never heard this before. I've heard Wendy Skerr being interviewed, and I've seen her on YouTube, but this one I didn't know. She actually said, no, it was not. It was not. It was not. It wasn't Martin Bryant. So have a listen to this.
He was staring at me. But when I got really close to him, his eyes, there was something about his eyes. He wasn't nice looking at all.
I had this lady on Twitter.
I went to the cafe and ducked out the side door, and then just after that, he must have followed me. And the shooting started. But I know why he was looking at me now, because I had a work uniform on. And he saw me go into the cafe. I hadn't even thought of that for a few days until Martin Bryant's picture came in the newspaper. And he was that much better looking than this fella. This fella had long, straggly hair. He wasn't, nice at all. Martin Bryant was quite a snappy looking boy. Nice dresser and everything, and it wasn't the same one. And now people that saw him close to what I did by Graham Collier, with his shot in the throat, he said it wasn't Martin.
Yeah,
I think I had that lady on the next space, Caz, and we done our thing, that Wendy, didn't we? Yeah.
I think Wendy Skerr's died several years ago. But I know that she was right up until the end. She was basically trying to bring awareness to the fact that it wasn't Martin Bryant. So
okay, so did we interview her?
No,
Hey?
no.
It's quite a few years ago, Caz.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, I'll have to. It's it'll be on my Twitter feed if anyone knows how to look that up. There was a Martin Bryant one, guys, with witnesses to the event on Spaces. There you go.
Well, yeah. Now we've had it. Of course,
here we go. Ran out. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Now the big news, of course, of the week was the Anzac Day, the buoy. And it was interesting that Peter Crandlin has come out and said this.
Papers. And I have to say, people booing on Anzac Day at services, I'm sorry, if you're a politician ripping into them today, you don't get a say. You don't get a say. People have had enough. In Victoria, my state of Victoria, they voted against the voice, and yet they're forced to have a treaty, they're forced to have all of this other stuff thrown at them. It's like their vote doesn't matter. So I can understand how cranky they are. Would I have done it? No, I wouldn't. But I don't do acknowledgements of country, and often I stand there for welcomes to country, and I boo on the inside. Like, we have had enough. There might be a place for a welcome to country, but it is not every place. It is not everywhere. Get the message, politicians. We have had enough.
Well, who wants to make comment first, Frank?
You go first, Frank.
Well, it's funny because it all played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out. Ben Robert Smith was front and center of the whole thing, right? I made it very, very clear that the booing, at the end of the day, I think we're done with the welcome to country ceremony whatsoever. You know what I mean? At the rate they're going, mate, well, why don't you just put a burning ceremony there as well? Why not? You know what I mean? You've gone that far. So, no, I think we've had an absolute gutful. And I think and it's interesting, I think, on the consensus of even the average punter out there, Dave, they're done with this nonsense, and the fact that they keep playing the narrative. And the same when I go to a council meeting, I want to thank this and that. These politicians wouldn't even know the fuck of who they're actually thanking in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, they'd have no idea,
Well, I'd question Credlin's credibility on coming out like that, because I would say they just need to tone it down a little bit. So if we give you something on your side, you know what I mean? And we'll just make it, the people they'll just settle down. They'll, Credlin's come out and said something now, you know, like, so yeah, again, we're in this psychological warfare from the media. So what is Credlin doing?
Well, the thing is that welcome to country, that sort of stuff's fine. Like I don't actually have an issue with it. The only issue that I've got is that like it is like overdone all the time. I mean, we need something, and like the New Zealanders have the haka and all that sort of stuff. Maybe we should fund our own thing. Get black kids, white kids get together, come up with their own theme song and own dance. But here's the thing: is the history of the Anzac Day is that there were
Aussie, come on, we're still a packer, you know. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is that on Anzac Day started because there were 500 returned servicemen who returned in 12 months after. There was a lady; they were coming home at 4:30 in the morning, and there was a lady there who was laying a wreath and praying for the people who had not returned and their families, and they decided to join her. Okay, so it started from there. But the thing is that you don't have a welcome to a country at a funeral or at a memorial service, so it's completely out of place in that setting. And they're doing it, as far as I'm concerned, you can actually tell that the government, like they're all accusing everyone of incitement. The governments are the politicians and the bureaucrats are the ones who are causing incitement. They are inciting it because of their behaviour, because they are ignoring the will of the people.
You know, well, they're still living in the world of inclusion means them. I mean, you know, I can tell you now, their inclusion doesn't mean me.
Their inclusion means division, Frank.
The inclusion
exactly.
world,
when they say inclusion,
yeah,
when they say inclusion, mate, they're dividing the community once again. Because that's what they do.
That's right, because the thing is that the globalists have known what they were doing, so they knew that there was going to be this backlash, and now you've got everyone asking, what is an Australian? What is an Australian? Whereas the real correct question is, what is government? Because, you know, if you look at the history of governments in the world, there was, after the fall of the Roman Empire, there was a period of about 900 years where people were stateless. The Roman Empire was stateless, okay? They didn't have a state running them, but people still had the right to, because their society was basically cohesive, people still had private property rights, individual rights, and it functioned under common law fine. So therefore, it is not the people who need the state. It's actually the state who needs the people. And they are not behaving in accordance with what their obligation is, which is to protect us. Instead, what they're doing is they're mass migrating and they're breaking up the social cohesion. Then they're hitting us over the head. They love it when terrorists create terrorist attacks. Then they get to legislate against us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Useful idiots.
Pretty much. Yeah. And as you know, it's always been party first, people last. You know, anyone that shows a bit of promise gets thrown under the bus because they're not, you know, towing the party line. You know, so
yeah. And I see all these people on TikTok, you know, getting on lives. I've been on a couple of them, but anyway, you know, thinking that they can vote their way out of this, man. I just laugh. I tell you what, like,
got to come down, Dave. All of it, mate. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, thank you for that, Diane. So the Aboriginals themselves don't do welcome to country. It's sorry business.
No.
So it's completely out of place there.
There you go.
It's all designed by the frigging deep state.
The inclusion crowd.
No, they're the ones who are, like, you know, they're the ones who are doing the incitement, as far as I'm concerned. And you know, and they're not stopping either. Like, you can see this situation here, where now there's this headline here is basically a bedroom glutton, a new radical plan to get boomers to sell their houses. Like, their behaviour is just outrageous. It is completely and utterly outrageous.
It sounds desperate to me, Caz.
It does. It does.
They're desperate, man. They're desperate. They have to roll this out by 2:30, man, and they're running out of time.
That's right.
Yeah. And you can see as well, like, there was a big backlash with regards to what they did with Ben Roberts-Smith because of the huge rally that turned out for Ben Roberts-Smith.
Yeah.
You have that there, and you've also,
Can I just add to that? I mean, Ben Roberts-Smith, you know, what about all the other soldiers that were with Ben? They don't seem to get a mention, do they?
No, well, that's it. But there are people that have come forward, and they're just basically going, you know, this is just outrageous. And so, and good for them as well. Now, also, what's happened as well is you've got artists, and they're hitting the pavements, or Street
I
art.
think if I go away and I was to get killed on the next trip, and that was the way that my life was meant to play out, then so be it. At least I've done it serving my country.
So
again, they just, Ben Robert Smith is all the two halves of the community against each other. More disharmony, more, this is what they do. They're great at it.
The funny thing is, Dave, like when it was all in the very early stages, when Kerry Stokes came out on his behalf. I mean, let's not forget, Kerry Stokes also owned Capilano honey, and was found out for putting syrup in it instead of honey. You know what I mean? So Kerry Stokes came out on his behalf back in the day, way back in the day. But it seemed like no one gave a shit then. All of a sudden, wow, he's back there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Now, I did not know this. A shout out to the handle RM. And they've actually put here that Mossad and drug trafficking and pedophile rings in Australian politics, 1995. Liberal MP Ken Aldred used his parliamentary privilege accusing Melbourne tax lawyer Mark Liebler as working for Israeli Mossad. He alleged that Liebler worked with the DFAT, which harboured 20-person pedophile ring. So I haven't actually checked that up. I haven't actually verified that the article's there. It's by Bruce Johnson, but it'd be very interesting. So I was not aware of that.
Yeah, look at Chick Fenton's comment there. This is what they do, guys. Look at that, This is the way they play, They're perfect, man. These guys have been doing this for thousands of years without any opposition, guys. Any opposition. And now, guess what?
It's
Mason. I'll give you a hero, I'll create a villain. If there's a villain, I'll create a hero. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's important that they know in advance as well. So they would have known 20, 30, 40 years ago that there would be a backlash and that there would be a white nationalist uprising. And so what they do is it'll either be led by or it'll be a useful idiot. And then their generals underneath them, stacked 2 to 3 deep, will be of the same ilk, or because they believe in leading both sides. So even if a person is genuine, he'll be hampered with people who have other interests.
Yeah.
So they do believe it. They control both sides. It's just the way. Just the way. And they want to. The division is such that they want to. What the globalists want is they want class warfare. They want warfare against different races, racial division. They want, and you can see it even now, like with the ageist division. So you've got the younger ones going on about the boomers. So they want division, okay? And that's why it's really important that instead of like, what is an Australian? What is government? What should government be doing? Because they are not doing what they should be doing. And if they were doing, we wouldn't be having these issues.
Yeah. No, exactly right. And it is. It's this left, right, and agenda. That's all it is. And when you know their playbook, I mean, it's a checkerboard for God's sake, folks, black and white.
Yeah.
They play both sides. So
That's
nothing's
true.
changed. Yeah.
Well, what has happened is because of this, there's actually a rising of alternative alternative parties. One being One Nation. Listen to this though.
And massive dissatisfaction with the two major parties. I mean, I note from the poll there you just quoted, I know there's a lot of disquiet amongst the coalition. Obviously, they're not doing so well. But if you add up the left-wing vote, if you like, 27 for Labor, 14 for the Greens, that's only 41%, I believe. So, the right, basically the right vote, if you like, is very large. And so, I think Labor could actually lose the federal election on those numbers.
That's amazing.
More of the shit show. It doesn't matter, people, whether polling gets in, nothing's gonna change. Okay.
Order out of chaos.
Oh, they might just tweak it a little bit, but I'll tell you what, look out.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it shows where people are at, and so look, the thing is that if people are this incensed and they steal it again, or the One Nation get in, and you can guarantee the people will be holding their feet to the fire. So that's the difference, is the waking up, is showing where the mood of the people is. And that's great. And you can see it as well because people are incensed, even about this story with the Attorney General. Listen to this.
Makes sense. the Attorney General of Australia was caught charging $21,000 for a personal trip. $21,000. So she was caught. She didn't get reprimanded. She got asked to pay back, wait for it, half of it. Not all of it, just half of it. What the fuck? Can't make this shit up. Share, subscribe, like, and if you don't want to, it's not mandated.
Yep. These guys are just absolutely off their guts, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, the people are about to find out just how off its guts life can get, because they are going to push the mantle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They got no choice.
Now, there's a couple of very interesting stories that are going around. Now, this is really good because this is Tom Rentz, and he is basically forcing the geoengineering acknowledgement here, and that will really help us.
They wanted to tell us that, oh, this is all fake. Well, take a good look at the complaint. I got news for you. The complaint's on file. It is there. It's legitimate. We're quite serious about it. And we intend to demonstrate to the world that the geoengineering cabal is real, that what you see in the sky is exactly what it looks like, and that it needs to stop, and that it's dangerous, and that it's being done as a way to steal, manipulate, and to damage people's health.
Yep.
That's awesome. That is huge. Now, the other one is, of course, this Eva, I can't pronounce her surname, she's Dutch, and Tucker, and they did an interview.
Why, so clearly there is a very well organized, very well funded effort to eliminate the white population of Europe. I mean, because it is being eliminated and you're not allowed to notice it, you'll be punished by police and courts you pay for if you notice what's happening to your ancestors' homeland. So that's all just true. Yeah. What?
That's right.
Like, who is pushing this?
It's the question of all questions, right? But it seems that all of these leaders that we have, be it Keir Starmer, be it Ursula von der Leyen, be it Merz in Germany, be it Macron, they all follow the same playbook. They all say the same things, literally post the same things, in their communications to the outside world. They might focus on slightly different subjects here and there, but the agenda is the same everywhere. And it's the erosion, essentially, of our borders, of our nation states, of our heritages. Right. I don't have to tell you or your audience that. We all know it. The question is, who's behind it? Honestly, I don't know. I can't answer that question. But what I can tell you is that the people who are rolling out these agendas are doing it out in the open, in front of our faces, and they keep getting reelected. So I have made it my mission, at least, to talk about those people and target them specifically, because they are the ones that are in front of us, rolling this out over and over and over again. But it's very difficult to say.
So I don't know that much about Merz. I don't know Macron. His reputation is smart, is clever, and cunning, as skilled politically. But I know a fair amount about Keir Starmer, and you will never convince me, at gunpoint even, that Keir Starmer is making independent decisions about the future of Britain. Just, you can't convince me of that. He's not adequate as a leader of a nation. He just doesn't have the basic qualities. He is taking orders. That could not be clearer, and I think it's clear to the British population. But you don't know who's giving those orders.
No, I mean, I don't know who's giving those orders. I think if we would know, it would be easier to stop this from happening, right? But that is, I think, part of the agenda, is that we don't exactly quite know who's behind this.
Yeah. Sorry?
Commander-in-Chief.
I wonder who's telling Tucker what he can talk about and what he
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. All roads lead to Rome, all right. They're Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot of people that are basically saying the same thing. So especially like there's an Iranian Australian, he's put this out as well.
Mm-hmm.
I am a non-Jewish Australian Iranian who's been brought up in Australia my entire life. The direction that this country is going into, alongside Western civilization as a whole, is the exact same direction that my ancestral homeland of Iran also experienced before the Islamo-Marxist coup in 1979, which led to the occupation of Iran by Islamists. My family migrated to Australia to assimilate and integrate the very principles and values we cherish and hold dear to our hearts. Freedom of expression, democracy, secularism, the rule of law, respect to the nation we reside in, and social cohesion. But without sugarcoating it, the reality is that it's not the same Australia that I grew up in. The plague of political Islam, in conjunction with Marxist ideology, alongside neo-Nazism that has personified itself in the form of Jewish conspiracies and blood libels, has resulted in the vast number of attacks on Australian soil, with the latest and worst terrorist attack on Australia being the Bondi Massacre. As an Iranian, I can vouch with 100% certainty that anti-Semitism does not end with the Jews. The Islamic regime occupying Iran starts its first target with the Iranians within Iran, followed by Israel, followed by the Jewish and the Iranian diaspora, including myself, and then it's you, the infidel. The Australian government has officially established the Royal...
All right, so what is actually identifying there is the decline. Now, what's interesting is I was speaking to a Han Chinese lady, Australian lady, the other day, and she's identifying the same thing. She was freaking out because she goes, "We left China, we left the CCP behind, and it's starting to happen here." So you have a lot of people who have come here to live away from that lifestyle, and they're actually seeing it start to creep in as well. They're identifying the features that they saw, that they've seen before.
And you got to remember that it wasn't until the 70s that Iran was taken over by Muslims. Okay,
Yeah.
and the Hajib and all this bullshit come in. Before that, they looked like us. They wore denim jeans and friggin' they were. Mate, it's just so much design, guys. Wake up, please.
And it was always Persia, Dave, until 1937.
Yeah.
The same thing with the
But
Balfour Declaration.
even that guy then, Frank, who's talking, should be stressing the fact
Frank,
that our
I'm
country
Persian.
was never like it is. Never.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Go
it.
get Gladio.
All right, now what's interesting is this story. Starmer.
Oh.
Point first because, well, it tickles my fancy if it doesn't tickle yours. You know this only from the mother of all talk shows because no British newspaper or broadcaster has told you that tomorrow morning in the Old Bailey itself, no less, 3 Ukrainian rent boys will face charges connecting them to the arsoning of the British Prime Minister. Will we discover what these men held against Keir Starmer? Why his back door was so ineluctably attractive to them that they had to firebomb it. 2 back doors, 2 vehicles, neither of which they should have, on the face of it, anything to do with, any knowledge of. I mean, how do you find out the former residence of the British Prime Minister? How do you find out his former vehicle? Unless you've been in it, of course, in the past. That can happen to the best of us. Now, these men plead not guilty, and they are entitled to a fair trial, and I hope that they get it. They may be entirely innocent, as they claim with their not guilty plea of these heinous arsoning offences, the kind of thing that turns the stomach of plain-minded folk like me. It may be that these men have been falsely accused, but they have pleaded not guilty for a reason, and that is so that their side of the story can be aired in court. The bare-faced truth must be told. That's the principle of British justice, isn't it? Justice.
Very interesting, isn't it? So where is that? There's nothing like that on the news, is it?
No.
No, that's it. All right.
Let's bring it, is what I say. Bring it now.
Now, the final story is we've got this. Paul is a freedom truck. He's appealing. He needs money and he needs prayer, guys. So I'm going to pop this into the chat so people can actually help him out if they have the ability to. The freedom truck. This has been going on for years since that was.
Yep.
We've heard the story. We've
That was
interviewed
epic.
him.
That was epic. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay,
so
get
guys-
out and support him if you can, guys. I know it's a hard time at the moment, but if you can help him, help him.
Yeah.
Come on,
That's
Simeon.
Yeah, come on, Cossack.
Yeah.
Get a few bucks over there, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Now I did have a story. It was basically it was a song dedicated to Ben Robert Smith to take us out on, but it won't load, so I can't actually take it out. So we're just going out.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. So look, we're going out to Rocky Housewife, and Dave, if you'd like to wrap up, and actually, Franco, if you'd like to have some final words, then Dave can wrap up and close the show.
Look, I reiterated, and I want to commend everybody that's been fighting on the front lines because we've done a tremendous job. We really have, and we continue to do so. But, the war isn't won yet, and so your local members are really feeling the heat. So get out to your council meetings, get into the face of your local politicians and serve them up. Yep. Don't bow down to them. And don't observe it. Be more the observer, not the absorber. I think sometimes it's good to step away from it and just look at it from afar. Don't get consumed. Don't let these leeches suck any more life out of you than they've already done. Anyway, that's it for me, Dave.
Yeah, well, tomorrow night we're going to revisit and talk a little bit more with Andrew and Ulukai's coming on to talk about, their view on where this country went wrong, guys. So, we'll deliver that tomorrow night, and then we'll see you Friday night for a wrap-up. But, look, again, I'll reiterate Frank's words. Thanks to everyone. All right, Scotty, his crew on the weekend, everyone. Whether you come into this fight yesterday or whether you've been in it for 20 years or 10 years, all right? Thank you. Because, these guys who have never been defeated in thousands of years are actually tasting defeat, guys. All right? And that's why it's getting crazy. So keep up the good work. See you, people. Thank you.
Drafting laws to keep us swayed. A hate speech bill, a silencing game. But are they for real or just chasing fame? Why is the government censoring us? In this land of plenty, we're losing trust. Over a false flag, they're pulling the strings. We're fighting for our voices, let freedom ring. Are filled with pain. Mass immigration, can we break these chains? Inflation's rising, costs we can't bear. While they sit in their towers, do they even care? Why is the government censoring us? In this land of plenty, we're losing trust. Over a false flag, they're pulling the strings. We're fighting for our voices, let freedom ring. Oh, the whispers in the shadows, they're growing loud. The truth is a fire and we'll burn it proud. United we stand, through the storm we'll rise. No more silence, no more lies. Why is the government censoring We're fighting for our voices, let's